Yes, our reigning world champion moves on in style and straight into the Players' Championship semi-finals. Two excellent pundits who are going nowhere. Also, Stephen Hendry and Alan McManus. Good to have you with us again, chaps. A big day to look forward to. We can reflect on last night as well. But, Alan, a real excitement around the place today. The crowd are coming in because we're down to the one-table setup. That means we're at the business end of this competition.
Yes, and it's business for all the players because we obviously have some incredible matchups on the way, not least of all this afternoon. All the top players are coming to the simmer now and are actually coming to the boil. They're beginning to play nicely. Selby is, Robertson is, and probably the rest of them are as well. It's looking good. Let's
talk about the world champion in action last night against Mark Williams. Kyren Wilson, he's full of confidence, brimming with confidence. He wears that world title on his shoulders very well. And I don't know, is he playing a little bit differently now with a bit more confidence, a bit more pace around him? He seems to be in a great rhythm at the moment.
I think all season he's stepped up. I think he's gone up a gear since winning the world title, and he's in a good habit where he's just winning all the time. He's won 3 titles this year, and that's helping him get through matches like last night where Mark made it a little bit awkward. Kyren wasn't at his best, but he's just still finding ways to win matches.
Yeah, he's in great form, and you know, he's great form actually after the match, and you know, looking forward to going well in this championship and then into the Tour, obviously, and looking ahead to the World Championship. A word on Mark Williams' performance. He was struggling a wee bit, and he talked very openly about his eyesight. It is a concern, obviously, when your livelihood depends on it.
Absolutely. I mean, you need to have good eyesight to play snooker, and you could tell last night, you know, you're going to need someone to decipher that message that he's texted. But yeah, from distance, you could see he was really struggling to hit the object ball in where he wanted to. So he's going to have to get it sorted sooner rather than later, isn't he? Big tournament's coming up.
Yeah, it's good that he's made a move on it straight away. You know, he's got back home into the opticians and see what's going on with that. But just actually touching on Kyren, I don't think we give him enough credit for being as smart as I think he is. I think he's now realised that I can bully even the great Mark Williams, guys like that. Kyren's looking brilliant. We'll see more of him, but we wish Mark all the best.
Yeah, he certainly doesn't look like he gets intimidated by anybody these days, Kyren Wilson. Let's take a look at the draw. As we said, he is the first player into the semi-finals, and he will play the winner of this afternoon's quarter-final. So let's take a look ahead to that now. On the main table, of course, 2 more world champions, Mark Selby taking on Neal Robertson, and after his first round win over Se Jiahui, Mark spoke to Abigail Davis.
Mark maintained your 100% winning record overseas. Some fantastic cueing in there, and when you were amongst the balls, looked really, really good.
Yeah, I felt good out there, you know. I mean, even at 3-all, I'm sitting there thinking I probably should be 5-1 in front. I threw a few frames away, which I probably should have won. But overall, I finished off the match well, so that was pleasing.
Yeah, I was going to say, it always felt like you were more in control of that match than the scoreline suggested.
Yeah, for sure. Like I say, I felt like I sort of controlled the match from start to finish. It was only my mistakes that C was sort of feeding off. So if I can cut them out going into the next round, I'll be dangerous. Yeah, and
at times you did cut quite a frustrated figure out there because of those errors that you've just mentioned. So there are a few things to work on before your next match.
Yeah, for sure, because it's just silly errors, really. I mean, silly safety shots, just like, you know, just plain ball shots when you're catching them too thin or too thick, which is like just amateur stuff, really. So if I can cut them out, then I'll have a chance.
Well, I think he's been hard on himself there a wee bit, Alan, because this was how he was scoring in that first round match. I mean, very, very impressive, scoring heavily.
Anyone who doesn't know Mark Selby off the table would be surprised to know he's quite pessimistic and glass half empty. But the good thing is when he gets on it, he goes the opposite way. It's not a terrible thing, actually, to be critical of yourself, I think, because it keeps you sharp and it keeps you alert to the job in hand. I think he's playing brilliantly the last few months. I thought his performance against Se Jiahui was as good as anything he's done this season. Perhaps, as Stephen mentioned earlier in chatting, that British Open final.
Yeah, the British Open, he was unplayable in that final, because I think it's actually one of John Higgins' best performances in that final. But he just, in the end of the day, couldn't do anything about Mark Selby. When he's at his top of his game, he is unplayable. I think he's going to have a really strong end to the season here, including Sheffield.
OK, let's have a word on his opponent now, Neal Robertson. He has a spring in his step, hasn't he, since rediscovering his snooker mojo. He's a previous winner in this tournament too, don't forget. So let's see how the Australian is feeling with Abigail.
Where you were 12 months ago compared to now, how proud are you of the way that you've responded to setbacks?
Yeah, really proud because, you know, I think starting the season, my projected seeding by the time December was coming, I think I probably would have been close to the 40s. So to be able to already cement my place, at the Crucible, with still, a couple of tournaments to go, shows that I really believed in myself, and the hard work really paid off. It's not easy. Sort of even 18 months ago, I was still practicing really, really hard, but just wasn't getting the results. And so it just goes to show, you just got to really stick to it, stick at it.
And I believe there have been quite a few lifestyle changes for you as well, haven't there? Because you've taken up golf. There's a lot more balance to your life now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, golf's been huge because it's given me a hobby to do where you're spending time outside, and that's much healthier. It's a much healthier thing to do than to get back home and start sort of like gaming or stuff like that. So yeah, golf is huge. People told me though to make sure that Miller doesn't become like a golf widow. So I've had to kind of sometimes rein it in. It's quite exciting because I'm getting quite good at it very quickly. But also need to, keep the reins on it a little bit as well.
And up next for you on the snooker table, Mark Selby, someone you know very, very well. You've met so many times previously, and you've had some quite grueling battles over the years, haven't you?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, always meeting big matches, big occasions, and yeah, wonderful player, great guy as well. Really good friend of mine on the tour, someone who occasionally sort of like if he sees me struggling, sort of he'll send me a text, check up on things, see how you're going, and yeah, there aren't sort of too many people that kind of do that on the tour, So, but he's certainly one of them. He's a great guy, wonderful player, and I always get up for the matches against him because he's a wonderful player.
Oh, Stephen, you can identify with that, having great friends in the game.
Whatever happened to him, I hate him, and I'm going to send him back to his sad little life. Whatever happened to that? There's no rivalries anymore. It's all too friendly. Honestly, they're probably up there chatting with each other, having a laugh, and yeah, there you go. I mean, what is going on?
It's called mutual respect, Stephen, and I think it's very
it's
important.
It's all very, very dull.
But of course, they know each other so incredibly well, and I'm sure at some stage they'll enjoy a round of golf together because, I mean, he's embraced it, hasn't he, Neal Robertson? He's loving his golf. Listen, I know what it can do to him, and my son has started playing golf, and I cannot get him off the golf course. But he's, typical Neal Robertson. He's obviously a hugely talented sportsman because already he's looking a cracking golfer.
Yeah, well, he is, yeah, but getting serious for a moment, the best time to mend the roof is when the sun is still shining. And a year and a half ago, Neal Robertson didn't do that. He didn't play in 2 or 3 events at the start of the season on the back of a double in our Players Series, and he paid the price for it. But he's recognised that he's got back in the practice table, but you don't get immediate results. You've got to put the graft in, and then in the fullness of time, the results will come. With the quality he's got, I think we did suspect or know that it was going to, and it has done. He's looking back to the player we know he is.
And a lot of that comes, I think, with belief for Neal Robertson, and he talks about that himself. He's playing with confidence now.
And confidence comes from winning. As simple as that, and if you can't get confidence of winning a final 10-0, when are you going to get confidence? So, yeah, he's pretty much as close as you can back to the player he was. Talking about him being every big tournament thing, he's one of the ones you talk about being a potential winner, where he wasn't sort of 18 months ago. So he's back to where he belongs.
How is this going to unfold today then? Because however Neal Robertson wants to play, Mark Selby can make things very difficult for him, can't he?
Absolutely. The recent record, actually, forgetting the overall one, Neal has won 11 of the last 13. We must take that into account. But they tend to, I was looking at the last 4 or 5 matches, it's a couple of tons each. For whatever reason, they tend to have real good quality encounters, and that's why I think this is going to be the same. I'm going to go for Mark Selby, just in the fact this is a day 4 cloth. The pockets are shaping up, they're pretty tight. Whether that transpires, I don't know, but I think Mark is playing marginally better. Do
you think we're going to see it go right down to the wire?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, it's definitely not a match where someone's going to win 6-0, 6-1. I mean, they're both capable of doing it, but I don't think that's going to happen. But I think, I'm with Alan, I think Mark Selby's going to win 6-4.
Goodness me. All right, well, they'll be going into a semi-final against the world champion Karen Wilson, whoever goes through, but we've a bit of snooker to be played before then. We'll get the action underway after the break. It's the quarter-finals of the Players' Championship. Well, quarter-finals don't come much better than what we are serving up this Thursday lunchtime at the Players' Championship. 2 of the game's greats converge, and only one can leave the Telford International Centre with a treasured semi-final spot. They know each other all too well. First meeting 19 years ago, and since then, Neal Robertson has prospered against Mark Selby, winning 18 of their 27 ties. But there won't be one snooker fan watching this one who will be ruling out one of the finest match players the game has ever seen in Mark Selby. So what a treat ahead of us then. Your commentators for this are Ken Doherty and David Hendon. But first, over to our MC, Tahir Hajat.
Thank you, Jill. It's day 4 here at the Telford International Centre. This is the sportsbet.io Players' Championship. The one table setup as Kyron Wilson awaits the outcome of this match. 2 former world champions ready to cross cues. So let's get them to the table. Up first, a player who won this very tournament in 2022. It's the Thunder from Down Under, Neal Robertson. And his opponent is the reigning Welsh Open champion, the jester from Leicester, Mark Selby.
What's the sense in sharing this one and only life? Ending up just another lost and lonely wife. You count up the years and they will be filled with tears.
What a day we have for you here in Telford tonight. Judd Trump against Sean Murphy. First up, a meeting of 2 other greats of the game, Mark Selby and Neal Robertson.
Thank you. The first frame, Mark Selby to break.
49 world ranking titles between them. And many battles between them down the years. As we saw there on the head-to-head, though, Robertson 18-9. It's quite a significant lead. He's won 8 of the last 9 meetings as well. Mark Selby may feel he's due. He certainly played really well against CJ8. And then Robertson, of course, had to battle back against Stuart Bingham. But this, Ken, is what you call a proper snooker match.
Yes, absolutely, Dave. Really looking forward to it. Battle of 2 of the heavyweights of the game. It's a surprising head-to-head, really. I mean, you would expect it to be a lot closer than that. But he's had the advantage. He obviously really enjoys playing Mark Selby. Not many do. You got to be so patient, diligent. Wait for your chances, because this man is he's a grandmaster in the tactical side. But I like the way both of them have been playing. I mean, it's a wonderful matchup, particularly of the form of both players, and it's great to see Neal Robertson back to somewhere near his best. And the way Mark Selby played against CJ8, well, it's really beautifully poised and set up.
Yeah, and of course both back in the winner's circle this season. Mark Selby winning the British and Welsh Opens, Neal Robertson the English Open, and just recently the World Grand Prix out in Hong Kong.
Where's this red gonna finish? I think he's got away with it. Could have easily left that on, but yellow is blocking it. Now, can he have a go at this red into this bottom right corner pocket? And don't think so. It's not far enough up the table that he can avoid the pack of reds. It's a bit of a strange shot from Mark Selby. He could have played that a little bit better. He sort of given Neal possible free shot here into the left centre. No real pressure on this. The only ball he could leave is the one he's taken on. Yeah. Yeah, very strange. Stanley so tactically astute. Ooh, maybe near jaw. Oh, just about.
Four. Five.
Well, Neal Robertson's one of the best in the game at this particular shot. Pot the blue, hit the pink full ball and try and split some of the reds. He's just a little bit worried that there may be a possible plant. Those two reds off the red beneath it and may go towards that bottom right corner pocket. Maybe one loose red that he's going to play on. The red at the bottom of the pack, yeah. So avoided going into the bunch, but nicely on this red.
10. $11.
Well, he's got tremendous cue power. He used it there, but
18.
probably too much. Probably could have done with stunning into those reds as opposed to screwing into them, and he hasn't had any real luck. Nothing straightforward to go at. Could drop the red into the left centre. The one that's just left of the bunch, or he could play one of these reds up into the top right hand corner pocket, the green pocket as we call it. Oh, he's going to play the red into left centre. No.
Neal Robertson, 18.
Yeah, it might take some settling down. Of course, the arena's been reconfigured overnight, so the second table has been taken out. It just sort of feels more serious. Now we're down to one table.
One.
Lovely shot. And nicely controlled back for black. Could possibly take pink as well, but this was a nice cutback.
One thing he has been doing this season is scoring really well. We saw the breaks in the first match. 59 centuries this season. He's second on the list. OK, Judd Trump's on 88, but Mark Selby's still ahead of all the others.
Yeah, and that's always a good sign, isn't it, for Mark Selby when he's up in the
7.
high scoring department, the centuries.
Eight.
Could have been a little bit nicer, the angle on this black. You'll have to put a bit of pace into this off Possibly 2 cushions for that red. Well, he played it nicely.
15.
Might go back up for blue here. He's got those couple of reds as well. And
16.
this is the type of frame you want to see, isn't it, David? In you know, the opening frame of the match, you don't want it to be too tactical or too scrappy, and players can get bogged down if it goes that way, particularly early on. Like an open, free-flowing first frame, it just gets both players into the groove. Yeah, this could be the key shot coming up. Get a nice angle on the blue and then a split on the pack. That's what he's having a look at.
$22.
He was looking at 2 reds. Could possibly go close to this right corner. He's okay. This will bounce, but it's not what he intended, but he'll settle for it.
27.
And those 2 reds right at the bottom of that bunch of 6, the one on the right will pot, and when he pots that, the one on the left will pot. So there's a really good chance now.
28.
Selby's pot success in round 1, 95%. You know, coming into a tournament,
34.
usually build your way in. So that was a terrific performance all round against Sir Joe Waite. He's sort of pegged as this, you know, hard man and grinder. He can do all that, but he's a very, very heavy scorer as well. And of course, if he brings it all together, that's what makes him so difficult to beat.
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's that little bit of belief is back in his
42.
scoring department. He's knocking the big breaks in, winning frames in one visit. There's another excellent shot into the middle, and this time I think he has enough of an angle to maybe just dislodge these 4 reds. If not, he can go up for the loose red. This could be the key shot. If he tries to bring those reds into play, gets on one, could be a chance to win the frame. Big shot this. Now, how's your look? Needs to slow down the cue ball. He's okay. He's got a red into the center. It's certainly far
50.
from easy, but if you can pot it and get on the black, could be the frame winner. Oh, it wasn't that easy, and it could be costly.
Mark Selby 50.
Yeah, but of course now he brought all the other reds into play. Yeah, it's only frame 1, but it already feels quite a big moment this, because the balls were at his mercy had that gone in.
One.
I think with these two, every moment of the match will feel big because they're just such great competitors. All the history of playing each other in big, big matches over the years. And all the chat beforehand was all very well and good, but when they get out there, they really want to beat the other.
7. 8. $15. $16.
Yeah, it'll come around. That red is next to the brown. It's going to be a little bit of a problem. But if you can pot this blue, get the red left of the yellow, get nicely on the green, he could possibly hold the green spot. He's obviously contemplating a few shots ahead here. But that would be his intention. And pot this red, get on the green. And if not, hold the spot just somewhere around the spot. He'd be
21.
nicely on that red into the yellow pocket. I'd love to be dead straight on the green when he pots this red. Oh! Well, he took his eye off it
Robertson,
completely.
21.
Big mistake.
It's a different shot, but first frame against Bingham, he missed a dolly red, just trying to pinch some of the pocket. And early on in that match, that looked quite costly. I know he won in the end, but gave Bingham some early confidence.
I think he's covered it. Yeah, the hand goes up. He's got away with it. It wasn't easy, that. It was up the cushion a little bit, that red. And he had to play it with a lot of right-hand side to try and get on the colour. But so a little bit of early nerves from both players. He's just trying to see if he can leave the cue ball down somewhere near this left corner pocket, left of the black. Is that red near the middle potable? It's pretty decent. I don't think he can cut this red in. Into the middle. Now, is this red potable past the green? Neal having a good look. It certainly is. Yeah, no problem. Not many.
1.
Better long potters in the game than Neal Robertson.
8.
Couldn't avoid being so close to the cushion, so this is going to take good cueing. Yeah, no problem. But once again, still a little bit close to the cushion here. Bit of work to do.
Well, judging by the first frame, it's going to be a tense afternoon. Every frame between these two sort of feels like a decider. It's in Robertson's hands.
15.
To get it won.
$18.
First time he's played in the Players' Championship since he won the tournament 3 years ago, so it just tells you that
22.
he'd have a couple of off years. Just needs the blue here. But there's only Neal Robertson and Ronnie O'Sullivan who've won all 3 of the Players' Series events since they've been part of the series, the World Grand Prix, the Players and the Tour Championships. These are his sort of tournaments. And in the end, he's made a good start. It was in the balance. Chances on both sides. A lot of respect between these two, understandably. It's Neal Robertson who leads Mark Selby 1-0. So we're underway here on day 4 of the Players' Championship in Telford. Neal Robertson 1-0 up on Mark Selby. Still best of 11. The winner plays Kyren Wilson, the reigning world champion, in the semi-finals tomorrow night. An 85th ranking quarter-final for Robertson, 101st for Selby. Been so consistent, these two, over the last couple of decades. That missed red to middle, wasn't it, that for Selby was the key moment in the first frame. He got the reds into play. Had he potted that, he would have been a big favourite with the lead he had to win the opening frame, but it wasn't to be. Oh, but that is brilliant. That'll make him feel good.
Well, that was a wonderful shot.
8.
I mean, the zip he got on that cue ball once it hit the pack. It's brought a few reds out into play, which is nice and handy. And judged that nicely
9.
as well. Top side of the blue.
$14.
I mean, just have a look at this now. Hits the pack there. There's the cue ball. Goes again. Beautiful shot. Plenty of cue par.
$15. $22. 23. $29. $30.
Well, he's got an angle on the pink here. He could play with a lot of top spin and maybe disturb some more reds. Could play for the loose red, of course, as well. Left of the pink. Yeah, that's what he played for. He's going to need a good split on that pack if he's going to win the frame from this
36.
visit.
$37.
So here we go. Ah, wonderful. Great shot. And when you're blessed with cue power as he is, Max Selby, you can play those shots with consummate ease. Look at this once again. Power getting through the cue ball and getting that zip into it once it hits the pack.
45.
Beautiful shot.
$52. $53.
Well, so far it's been textbook long red. Got a lead going, got into the reds now. It's just a question of keeping control and a big break on the cards here.
Yeah, and a really good response considering how he lost that opening frame. We had a
59.
chance. Missed the red into the middle. It's just what you
60.
you need when you lose a frame like that you feel that you should have won. You come back with a big break, keep your opponent in the chair. Oh, it's been wonderful. Just this red required. Well, as you said there, a big break on the cards.
67.
Possible 1-4-2.
$68. $75.
Not done much wrong, has he? Read that Selby Potty was absolutely superb to get in. Nice break so far.
76.
Judd trumps 139.
Well, to beat it, he's going to need the remaining 4 reds with all blacks to get 140. I don't know whether he knows that
81.
or not. Is he on this red? He's having a good look at it.
82.
Well, he obviously doesn't know what's the high break is 139 because you can only level with it now, taking the pink.
Well, everyone's so friendly these days, Ken. They want to share it between themselves, you see. Judd's hoping he takes another pink.
88. $89.
But this is how he was playing
96.
in the first round. And he's continuing this heavy scoring.
97.
So, what a wonderful break. This black for the ton. He's third of the tournament.
$104. $105.
Well, not the best angle on the black, almost straight. Now the reverse spin, and he's, well, how well is he cued out? Absolutely perfect.
112.
So all 6 remaining colours to equal Judd Trump's highest break of 139. Great start to this match.
114.
We expected fireworks from these two heavyweights, and they're certainly delivering so far. More to come, hopefully.
117.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be. And Robertson just watching, he's done nothing wrong here.
$121.
Mark Selby's 60th century of this season. As I said at the start, he's been scoring really heavily.
$126.
Battle joined in some style.
$132.
Black for a total clearance of 139. The joint highest break of the tournament so far. And on this evidence, there'll be more to come from Mark Selby. That was absolutely magnificent from first shot to last. He levels the match at 1 each. So Mark Selby could have won the first frame, but he emphatically won the second, the 139, a total clearance to level this already absorbing match. The second quarter-final at the Players' Championship this year. Just to reiterate, the winner plays Karen Wilson, who of course beat Mark Williams last night 6-3. Tonight, Judd Trump against Shaun Murphy. The winner to play either John Higgins or Zhao Guodong. They're up tomorrow afternoon. Zhao Guodong, the only quarter-finalist, not a world champion. Or not yet, anyway. But the other 7 have all triumphed at the Crucible. Neal Robertson back in 2010. 15 years ago now.
One.
Well, Mark Selby potted a long red at the start of the last frame, and Robertson didn't get another shot. He's looking to return the favour here.
Well, that was a lovely split. Different type of split from that we saw from Mark Selby in the previous frame. Just have a look at this. The way he just stuns into that red above the black, uses the power all in that red just to split the reds and still hold for this red into the right corner pocket. Lovely shot.
9.
He's okay. Wasn't the best shot, I have to say, but being a left-hander, being able to play this blue up into the yellow pocket. Needs a bit of care and attention. This is not particularly straightforward.
Fourteen.
Yeah, he's just eyeing up to see that if he puts this red into the right centre, can he just dig into the cue ball enough to avoid the reds on the left-hand side of that bunch as we look and try and get on the black. He's okay.
15.
He judged it. Couldn't avoid the red, so played a little cannon, but he's judged it nicely.
Sort of competitive animal Neal Robertson is. He won't just want to win the frame, he'll want to make a century of his own, make a statement of his own, having
22.
just sat and watched that last frame from his seat. So many big matches between these two. They played in a Masters final, the UK final, the China Open final, and the semi-finals at the Crucible at the World Championship in 2014. Selby, that was the year he won the title. He beat Robertson 17-15 in the semis. That's actually the last time Neal Robertson was in the one-table setup there. Incredible, really. 11 years. Bearing in mind everything else he's won in that time.
23.
But of course, he's back there this year as a seed.
$30. $31. $36. $37. $44. $45.
So far, so good. But we've already seen, as I say, in his first match, and indeed this one in frame one, It's the unexpected miss creeping in, so be looking to really focus here, having seen how well Selby played in the last frame. I thought it was quite telling, though. He beat Stuart Bingham 10-0, didn't he, in the last final, the World Grand Prix, and he said in his interview here he still feels there's a lot more in the tank. He didn't just sort of settle for that. Most people would have done, winning 10-0, but he feels, no, I can play even better.
$53.
I think that's the good thing about a lot of the great champions, that they're never happy. They always feel that they can do more, achieve more, win more, play better. It just keeps them on their toes. It's just their natural instinct. Never achieve perfection, but there's no harm in striving for it.
58.
Oh, this could be a key shot. What's this? Gets on a colour here. Oh, yeah. Just as you said, David, there's the little miss comes in that you don't expect him to. I mean, for a left-hander, you never expect him to miss that. That's bread and butter. And that's why you see the little shake of the head. Just as we saw in the first frame.
One.
I mean, he's got a good, healthy lead. But a bit of work to do for Mark Selby to get back into this frame, but he has the chance. He wasn't expecting.
Eight.
Yeah, not perfect. He can pot this red, but cue ball running away.
Nine.
So needs one good positional shot here. Played this nicely, very nice. That problem ball is the one on the left, near the left-hand side cushion.
11.
For a right-hander, that's a little bit awkward. But he won't worry about that just yet. It will be in the back of his mind. How he's going to get that off the cushion, or possibly even lay behind it at some stage. Ooh.
12.
Yeah,
Could you
door
please
slammed
turn
or
your
something
earpieces a
there.
little bit down, because we can hear it in here.
Yeah, well, I think it wasn't so much the commentary earpieces. Something slammed a door or something just as he played that shot. Total clearance was superb, but these frames psychologically make such a bigger difference. Robertson was looking really good on 58, broke down. Selby looking to punish.
$19.
quite nicely on this red. You can just
24.
drop this red in for the black. And probably a little bit more of an angle on this red than he would have liked. I still think he can possibly hold it. Just delicate little shot if he holds it. He should be okay. He played the stone across, yeah, but held
25.
nicely. So it looks like maybe leaving that more difficult red to last, unless he's got an angle to try and screw into it here. No.
$32. Mark Selby, 32.
Well, a break of 32, but, well, he tried to take the red out with the red, and that was always very, very difficult. He might have got away with it, you know. Does this red pot past the pink? Oh, it does, just about. Oh, just about as well. Crept into the pocket.
Relief for Robertson. Just this red needed to lead 2-1.
6. $7.
Yeah, on another day, his earlier miss could have been costly, but he can forget about it now. Mark Selby could have won all 3 frames. He was ahead in the first, made the century in the second, had the chance for the clearance there in frame 3.
12.
I just thought it was a very strange decision there. Didn't have to try and remove the red from with the red. Could have tried to get a better angle on the colour.
14.
It was very costly.
Well, it's all simmering along
17.
nicely, this match, isn't it? Lots of incident, lots of moments to talk about. And plenty more to come.
21. 26. 32.
So Selby did have the chance to make the counter clearance.
39.
Went wrong trying to bring that red out, and Neal Robertson delighted that he was able to do enough to go back in front. He leads 2-1. Karen Wilson awaiting the winner of this afternoon's match between Neal Robertson and Mark Selby. Such a good lineup. You can see there Higgins, Trump. Of course, Xiao Guodong has had such a great season. And Sean Murphy also still involved.
Thank you, frame 4.
Neal Robertson leads
to break.
2-1 here against Selby. This is the last frame before the interval. It's been high quality, just the odd shot, the odd moment, the odd miss has made a difference. Very close, and of course because of that it stayed near the pocket. Not one of those in, didn't he, 2 frames ago, made a 139. Not this time.
21. Eight.
Just had a quick look at the pink. May play for it here.
9.
Yeah, I don't think it'll go back on its spot. It may do, but it may go at the back of that bunch, which won't really impede him in any way. Gotta have a steady hand for this job, eh?
Yeah, there's been a few refs down the years who haven't. Yeah, got to get it in. She's got to get it in line with the spots here. Can't touch a ball.
Eight. 15. Sixteen.
Obviously left a nice angle on this red, so when he pots it,
23.
career into the pink and more reds coming into play, you would feel.
24.
He brought 2 into play. Not too bad. I don't think he'll go into the pack here. I think he'll play for the loose one that's left of the bunch. Yeah, not a great sort of bunch to go into from the black there.
31.
Yeah, he's got a choice. He could play for black and then still one more loose red, or he could possibly go up for the blue and maybe split the pack from the blue. Either one. Playing for black.
32. $39.
So this time he will play for blue. Well, he stopped in his tracks at it. Is there a possible plant in the middle there? Oh, looks like it's going right of the pocket, but he may be a bit concerned that if he does play into the pack from the blue, that red may go close to the pocket.
$40.
Like unless it's dead set plant, you've got to just take a chance here. And it was going close to the pocket, and he was right.
Robertson,
He was right.
Mark Selby 5.
Oh, it looked like it was going right at the pocket, but you can make a plant. You can straighten it up with those reds, and that's exactly what's happened. You could see it. Could be costly.
1.
Selby just noticing something on the cue ball. He recognises this is another important juncture in the afternoon's play. As I say, he could have won all 3 frames so far. Now his chance comes in the 4th.
Six. Seven.
Well, that's not gone to plan. Far from it. So that's a let off for Robertson.
Starting ball, please declare. Blue ball. Mark Selby 7.
Well, he had a long think about that and eventually just decided to leave Robertson hampered.
Yeah, it's quite a clever little shot from Mark Selby because he sort of forced Neal Robertson into playing that red, which was the only safe red on the table. Made him take it off the cushion. And he's still in control of the table here. So good safety, back to ball, tight on that ball cushion somewhere out behind the green. Not bad. Slightly got away with it. He's going to have to take on a more difficult red. That red has come over and blocked the path of the other red into this left corner. He's going to have to try and chip one into this right corner pocket. No. There's the cue ball. Pretty good.
Foul. And the miss Neal Robertson 4. Yeah.
Excellent return. Very, very good. He's quite a long way away from that, Neal Robertson. He has left a possibility of this red into this bottom left corner pocket, and he can stun the cue ball across the right hand side of the table. The black is available into the same left corner. Wasn't cued very smoothly, that. Bit nervy. You can see the backswing, a bit tight.
One.
Oh, that's a cracker. Beautifully controlled. Wonderful shot, and nicely on the black.
Black ball. Eight.
Some sort of announcement going off in the background. Not the interval yet. Neal Robertson hopes it will be in a couple of minutes' time. Well, I don't know what that is. Let's hope whatever it is stops very soon.
Nine. $15.
So it's two more pots realistically here. Mark Selby's had chances in every frame. Of course, he made a 139 in the second. And he's going to get another one in this frame. Neal Robertson has not killed it off. How crucial will that be?
He's just missed the odd one, hasn't he? Ones that you don't expect him to. He's just crept into his game a little bit as well, and as he has been playing shots that you wouldn't have seen him miss a few seasons ago. Selby hasn't played a good one there. He tried to catch that red full ball and hold the cue ball, but he hasn't done that. No. This time it will cost them, I'm sure.
This is the thing. Neal Robertson, okay, he has missed a few, but mainly they've not been significant. The only frame Selby's won, he got in first shot with a long red. So he hasn't punished the mistakes from the Aussie, who now needs this to make sure of the frame. And a 3-1 lead. Long way to go, but bearing in mind how well Selby played in that frame he won, I think Robertson will be delighted with this scoreline.
9.
Just one half century from him. These two have both, of course, won so much, accomplished so much in the game. They both know it's a long way from over, but equally, I think Selby will be disappointed with this mini session because he has had the chances.
17. 19. $22.
Remember, Robertson on the head-to-head is quite a way in front. 18 wins to 9. He's won 8 of the last 9.
$31.
So, very interesting
Robertson,
start.
31.
Mark Selby's
And the
made the
frame.
highest break of the match and the joint highest of the tournament, 139. But at the interval, it's Neal Robertson holding the advantage by 3 frames to 1.
High quality stuff here in Telford. Both players in fine form, both going for their shots and with matching pot success. Just 25 points separate these two on their total points scored, but it's Neal Robertson who leads the way 3-1 at the mid-session interval. Alan and Stephen, we gave this the big billing and it has delivered. Quality stuff. But Alan, Mark Selby must be looking at the match stats and thinking, how am I trailing 3-1 here?
He's played well. It's been very close, not much to choose, although I do think that Neal is good for his 3-1 lead. Just for the fact that of the two players, in my opinion, Neal looks the more comfortable. Mark, on the other hand, looks more wary of Neal than the other way round. Neal is going about his business almost wrapped up in his game, which we want to see from him. Mark looks a wee bit hesitant. His long game hasn't been quite on it today, and that's probably why, with just the odd mistake here and there, and that's why he's 3-1 behind.
Stephen, let's take a look at how the match unfolded, because both players scoring well.
Yeah, both players look good. More unforced errors than I expected between these two today, but we're seeing Neal sort of wrap up the first frame. A sort of lovely long pot, had to avoid the cannon on the brown. Nice in the back. This is a nice shot in the black. You can risk playing this to run inside to get away from the cushion, but he pots the black, and then a couple of shots here, nice top spin shots when the cue ball's quite close to the cushion. These need to be cued well. It's very easy to put a bit of unwanted side and drag the cue ball over. But 2 good shots there to sort of seal that first frame. Mark Selby sort of steps up. This was a beautiful long red. OK, there's not a lot of pressure on it because the only red you can leave is the one he's playing, but he screws the ball better, as good, if not better, than anyone else in the game. The work he gets in the cue ball there and this one here, the cue ball doesn't stop when it hits the red. It keeps accelerating, and it just, this again, beautiful screw shot, little dab of right-hand side, perfectly in the yellow. So that was obviously his highlight of the first 4 frames.
When you're playing against somebody like Neal Robertson of his calibre and the way he's playing at the moment, you have to take every chance that comes your way. And Mark Selby will be looking at that 3rd frame and thinking, I'll let that one get away, Alan, surely.
Yeah, we'll get into frame 3 here, and he's got a decision to make now. Even if we could just pause it here just before he plays it, he can play, he can play red for pink, blue, or, whatever he wants, basically. He doesn't have that much angle to work with, but he decides as we run it on to play it with lots of power. And because he's playing it with lots of power, he overcuts the pot because he wants pace in the cue ball at the end of it. The red comes back round the table, and as we'll see here, it just about goes past for a lefty, which obviously Neal is. Yes, it wipes its feet on the way in, but that was him into the lead, 2-1 in front, and a big frame. Now, those shots early on that Stephen picked out for us from the cushion, this was one that Mark has, and he comes a cropper on it. That's where these best players at their best normally do the business, like John Higgins has done down the years. He's fallen at a bit of a hurdle there, Mark, and he just looks a wee bit more edgy than Neal. I think that's the difference. Possibly
a good time for the break for Mark Selby, just to reset, because he knows he's playing well, but he just needs to get back into this one.
Yeah, I think it's just, as Alan said, it's a little unforced errors. That sort of red into the middle in the first frame, that red there, it's kind of like he's failed at the sort of, they're not huge pressure shots, but they're important shots of the frame, and that's when he's coming up short. So that's a worry if you want to go ahead and win this match.
We've got Judd Trump and Sean Murphy playing tonight in the quarterfinal, and then tomorrow we get our last quarterfinal, which is Zhao Guodong and John Higgins. They're up in the practice room. This is what you love to see, Stephen. The guys having a laugh together.
Yeah, they're all having fun, innit? Let's put the kettle on. Let's have a cup of tea. Come on, do you want to go for lunch? Yeah, let's go for lunch. Come on, yeah. Where shall we go? I mean, yeah. You've got a quarterfinal. Get on with it. Get practicing.
Listen, they spend a lot of time together, these players, and I think the lovely thing about John Higgins is he's always happy to share his experience with all the players on the tour.
That's fine. That's a day before a match, not 10 minutes before you go in to play a match.
What do you reckon?
I'm kind of the same. I agree with it. I don't agree with him in much, Stico here, but no, but tomorrow it's got to be all business.
Listen, the quarterfinal we've got taking place today, 2 great players with huge amount of respect for each other. When they come back out, we're going to get this match back underway. At the moment, Neal Robertson leads by 3 frames to 1. What can Mark Selby do to try and wrestle his way back into this one and hopefully book a place in the semi-finals? We'll get the conclusion after the break. And here in Telford, it's high-stakes snooker as Neal Robertson and Mark Selby do battle for a semi-final berth in the Players' Championship. Robertson leading by 3 frames to 1, best of 11. And they're ready to get back underway. Taking you through to the conclusion of the match, Neal Foulds is alongside Phil Yates in the commentary box.
Thanks, Jill. Yeah, Neal Robertson halfway home.
Mark Selby to break.
But I think the way that Mark Selby's queuing, there's plenty of upside for him. His 139 break was world class. It was smooth as silk. And if he can channel that for the rest of the contest, he could easily turn this around. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be a surprise if this became one-sided in favour, in this case, of Neal Robertson. Whoever were to win, you feel that there'd be quite a few frames likely to be played, but to take 3 out of the first 4 on the back of that beautiful break from Selby, Robertson must have enjoyed his little few minutes at the mid-session interval, pleased with his work so far. But there's a lot of snooker to be played, and Mark Selby, of course, as we know, he never gives in. He always tries his all to the point when there's a handshake. Well, a little bit of a risk there. The double kick's just avoided, and the red, was on a different day, might have ended up over the left middle, but it's all right. The only red he could leave was the one he went for, and he has left it.
One.
Well, gets a smattering of applause, but he has slightly lost the cue ball to the side cushion, which limits him a touch as to what he can do here. I think he can play around 2 cushions on a red. That's okay. Good shot.
6. Seven.
The pursed lips, the expression of frustration because he's on the incorrect side of the blue. Yeah, I think it's virtually straight, which gives him no options to get closer to a red. Yeah, I mean, there's no angle to play with there at all, so he's going to look at a bolt colour, more difficult in getting the pot, but offering something positionally down for the bottom red, the red directly above the black. Well, the pot only just went in, but it's actually very good there.
And the next shot becomes a big one now because,
11.
of course, he can develop a number of reds, but he has to get from red to colour in doing so. It was a third into the secondary red, not a skim. Sometimes those shots you feel like you want to just overdo it and just push the cue ball through. Then of course it ends up on the side cushion, so it's a difficult balance. Well, he might be having a little dart at this if he can get to it. Failing that, he might have to play safe, but he certainly has looked at the very thin potting angle. Yeah, not this time.
Neal Robertson, 12.
A meeting of proper players, these two. Lots has been made, and quite rightly so, of the fact that we've got 7 world champions in the quarterfinals. This, though, a meeting of 2 former world number 1s. And there have been more world champions than world number 1s over the years. The first world ranking event, the 1974 World Championship, so the rankings have been going for 51 years, and only 12 players have topped them, and 2 of them are playing each other today here. Yes, it was a very difficult shot,
Foul.
and actually the in-off is not
Mark Selby, 4.
disastrous. Problem he's got, you know, if he hits the 2 reds, as you can see at the top of the picture on the cushion there, were very much in play to be hit on the way back down with the safety shot. So he went the other way, hit it thin, hit another red. But I think he'll settle for the outcome, Robertson. One of the reasons why Selby finds himself in a predicament on a break of 50 in the first frame that was highly promising. He narrowly missed a red to middle, a pressure ball, as is this.
Yeah, not an easy shot. He's left, as a consequence of this miss, something at mid-range for Robertson. Didn't want to put the curse on him there, but it's a shot that he always seems to get, those sort of mid-range shots, hand on the table. I mean, he made it look easy, but of course, it easily missable. And it would feel a big frame, you know, to extend and lead 4-1. I know it's a first to 6, not first to 5, but you know, if he could extend here, I feel that he'd done a lot of good work.
9.
He'll be looking closely at that bunch of reds on this, I think, because he discovered a plant last time. Not this time, but also not great either, the outcome.
Yeah, even though he's in front, he's not had the best of fortune when splitting the bunch. Very good indeed.
15.
In without touching the sides, and now this is a realistic frame-winning chance.
$22. $23.
Yeah, I mean, he'd like to be a lot straighter on this blue. You can control the cue ball better. But he's kind of, if he pots it, he's coming towards reds if he plays it. Maybe crashing into a red or two. Might play a little cannon on the 2 reds close to the pink spot just to hold the cue ball. He's played it really nicely, in fact. It was not difficult, but he executed the shot perfectly.
28.
Be annoyed if he didn't get the frame one here. It's a good chance to.
$29. $34. $35.
This table will be recovered overnight. Kyren Wilson yesterday was saying on a few occasions he dropped short of the blue. You saw there Robertson putting a little extra oomph into it.
Yes, and I always think people who are watching you play in their local club might think, well, how come the table is need of a recover after a few days? But they're not quite the same cloths as the more heavy-duty ones in clubs, which are made to last. These are really just built for short use. They're not that practical over a long period of time, but they play beautifully at tournaments, these ultra-fine cloths.
Yeah, 4 days is about the max.
Yeah, as opposed to about 4 years in some of the clubs that we might have been in over the years.
48. 49.
57 in front, so this routine blackest frame ball.
$56. 57.
'A new high break in the match for Robertson.
64.
Supplanting a 58 in the third frame. And what a different
65.
quarter-final Players' Championship experience for Mark Selby to last year, when at this stage he whitewashed Ronnie O'Sullivan 6-0. This time he's on the receiving end.
72.
Called a foul on himself immediately, but it did not matter in the slightest. That was more than sufficient for Neal Robertson to power ahead. A 72 break means he leads 4-1. Welcome back to the Telford International Centre. Neal Robertson just 2 frames away from a semi-final meeting with Kyren Wilson in this Players' Championship.
Neal Robertson to break.
Selby has got such a deserved reputation for being the ultimate fighter, the ultimate scrapper. But coming back from this kind of deficit against a player of Robertson's calibre will be very testing indeed.
Yeah, and I think with Neal Robertson, he might not so much enjoy playing Mark Selby, because not many people would, because of his style and how he can either beat you by playing brilliantly or tie you up in knots. But I think Neal Robertson can sometimes go a little into his shell. That's one thing over the years he's done. But he knows that's not going to be any good to him here, so he's almost making his mind up playing Selby, isn't it? I'm going to try and be positive and attack where possible. And that usually brings the best out of the Australian.
They played each other in the quarter-final of the World Championship in 2020. I think Robertson got his tactics completely incorrect. The first few frames, all very lengthy, were really tactical. Selby was in his element as they re-rack here.
Yeah, I remember that frame, that match. The first frame of it in that 2020 best of 25 frame match. It was nearly an hour. Selby was about 60 in front. There were 5 reds. They looked like they were nailed to the vault cushion. In other words, no way back. And the match followed that trend. And I think Robertson decided he wasn't going to get embroiled in tactical struggle against the man in the opposite chair today. And that's why he's played well against him in the past. You know, you've got to attack Mark Selby. If you get into a battle of wits, then, well, it's a tough one.
Yeah, since that match at the Crucible, Robertson's won 8 of their 9 subsequent meetings, and all in big tournaments.
Thank you. Frame 6, Neal Robertson to break.
they're going to re-rank them again. And it's not really a stalemate, is it? There, I mean, well, we might never finish this match if we keep having re-racks after a couple of shots.
I have seen, funnily enough, I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. I have seen frames re-racked twice before. I can't ever recall seeing a frame re-racked 3 times, though, so if that occurs, that would be very rare indeed. Yeah, basically, Robertson snookered Selby in behind the yellow both times he broke off, and then that's what resulted.
Yeah, but if there was a third re-rack, we wouldn't exactly be singing it from the rooftops, would we? It's not a lot to be proud of, Phil. It's not as if I was there moment.
Speak for yourself.
Thank you, frame 6. Neal Robertson to break.
At least, Neil, those re-racks were brief. We've had a re-rack with just pink and black on the table. We had one at the Crucible with blue, pink and black on the table many years back. And we had one after 56 minutes of play.
It's a well-weighted safety shot. No one likes playing from underneath the bolt cushion. And the right side, as you can see, cut off. So no way of accessing that side of the bunch. And the left side, again, it's the red on the cushion, which Mark Selby realises in play. It's given a slight problem to Robertson here, getting back down the table, if that's what he's going to attempt. I don't know if he's looking at the 3-ball plant or whether he can actually get the cue ball round the back of the reds for safety. Plant's not a million miles away. I'm not sure whether he can quite get to it. It's a great effort, isn't it? He sort of steered the cue ball round a little bit, but I thought the pop was in. It turned out well.
Well, right now the black out of commission, pink tied up. Is this the environment for another really drawn out exchange?
Well, he might immediately get the red away from the black here, because I don't think Robertson will want what you've said to happen. So at least the black is in play. Little bit short of pace on that one. I wonder if Selby will be tempted by this long red into the right corner, which is by no means easy, but he has actually looked to be queuing well on long pots. Not entertaining it here.
As we touched on recently, it's a fine tactical balance for Neal Robertson. Bitter previous experience tells him he doesn't want to get involved in a dogfight, but on the other hand, he doesn't want to be reckless.
Yeah, this time with the cue ball further across, he might be able to get to these three reds now. He'd have to hit the first red a little bit thinner than a direct potting angle. I mean, plenty can go wrong with the reds far enough apart. Now he's looking at other shots. I don't think the three ball plant's far away. One of these where you've got about 4 or 5 different options, none of which are that easy.
Close, twice over. And now the plant has caught Selby's attention.
Yeah, it's tempting. You see it from that low angle camera. It looks easy, doesn't it? But it isn't. But I think it's going to go close. Played it with a lot of safety as part of the plan as well. So it's hard fought, this frame already, with 2 re-racks and not a ball potted. So that was a mistake, but again, Selby in taking on this long red, which he probably has to play. You know, there is always the chance of him leaving something. Maybe he won't play it for that reason. I think there'll be many players on the tour that would have taken that red onto left corner, that straightish red, on the basis of they kind of won the safety exchange, won that half chance, would feel maybe obliged to pot one or try to.
So 10 minutes played in this frame, not a ball potted, and of course that frame time doesn't include the 2 re-racks.
Foul.
Well, at
And
least
miss.
now there's a
Mark Selby
a
foul.
point on the board, 4 of them, and a chance.
One.
Once again, hitting it well. He's striking the ball nicely at those shots we're hitting below centre of the cue ball. It's not
6.
bad. I can think of someone like a Kyron Wilson who we saw win last night. Maybe would have even took the rest out and knocked the black in there, but of course it was more difficult than the blue. Easier position maybe. He's going to have to do it this
7.
time though, from closer up.
Against Sergio Way, Selby scored very well. 128 break in the first frame, 1-3-2 to finish. Plenty of other meaningful contributions in between. I think the table now is playing a little more tricky in terms of scoring than it was then. And one of the consequences of a 4-day-old cloth, apart from the fact it's harder to manoeuvre the cue ball around, the pockets too tend to play tighter, so scoring at that level will take some doing.
Yes, I mean, what it boils down to is because the cushions are not as got the same sheen on them, the balls don't slide in off the knuckle of the pocket as perhaps they do on a brand new cloth. That's why they rattle and stay there. We saw one earlier from Selby that did that. Long red that stayed close to the right corner.
15.
He stayed down on that one, didn't he? He thought he'd gone to the near jaw. I think he considered that he'd missed it for a second. Very important visit. He's earned the chance. And now he has to take the chance.
20. $21. $28. $29.
Yeah, quite a nice shot, delicately played. He wanted to avoid the 3 reds directly above the black there.
36.
Which he's done by playing the black quite slowly with screw.
$37.
Categorised as a grinder, Selby, but he's also a phenomenal scorer. In fact, in matches between these two, he's made more centuries than Robertson, who's known for his big break building. The 139 that Selby had earlier was his 40th against Robertson. Robertson's made 37 against him.
$44.
Just a tiny bit awkward here. Wants to avoid any major contact with those 5 reds. He couldn't do anything about it, so gently played.
45.
That's a good shot. Didn't look much, but maintains control.
$52. $53. $60. $61.
And the bottom red goes as well, the one that's directly above the black. To the same pocket. From just above the red it'll be. Again, very meticulously played. So this is very good.
60.
Mark Selby, it seems that when the opportunities do come, and they're not coming at him all the time, he's still scoring.
69.
And now with the frame well and truly won, maybe Selby can go on and claim a full share of the highest break prize. He's 139 earlier, good enough to tie Judd Trump at the top of the list. After this, he could be out on his own.
Thank you. 75. $76. Sure. 81.
Well, for him to do so, he'll have to take reds and blacks with all of these to get to 140. Take a little bit of doing. Going to have to disturb the 3 reds here. Well, if he's going to play the pink, then that's that, I suppose. 39 is possible again.
$88. Mark Selby, 88, and the frame.
Not a century, but a much-needed contribution. A break of 88 from Mark Selby. Write him off at your peril. Mark Selby, badly needed frame 6, and he tucked it under his belt quite nicely, actually, with a break of 88. Of course, he made the ultimate snooker break, 147 against Robertson in the first round of the Champion of Champions in 2018. He lost the match, though, 4-3, and to add insult to injury, what was his prize for the 147, Neal? Well, he keeps reminding us, nothing.
Bit unfortunate, wasn't it? There was nothing for it. I think the 147 he made in that world final against Luca Brissell on day one, when he looked really tired, actually, because the match in the previous round against Mark Allen finished in the early hours, did his press. Brissell came out flying in the afternoon, but at night, session 2 of 4, he made a beautiful 147, the first in a world final.
Yeah, what an achievement that is. Now, I think we know who that lady is supporting. The jester from Leicester. He is good fun, actually, Mark Selby, but on the table, deadly serious.
Thank you, frame 7. Mark Selby to break.
That yellow proving a very useful ball in terms of being a blocker. After the break-off. They're thinking what I'm thinking.
Yeah, maybe, but, you know, a re-rack, in all honesty, is when the ball sometimes over a pocket and another player will take a risk. It's not that situation here, or the second of the two we saw earlier was not really like that either. Don't get me wrong, if they think frames should be started again, fair enough. This is not going to be one, I don't think, yet.
Yeah, the anatomy of a re-rack is very different these days to what it was way back when. Referees used to step in and decide enough was enough. Now, the overwhelming majority of re-racks occur because of mutual consent between the two players.
More concerning is where the red that he missed ends up. And it's okay, not leaving it to the left middle. Robertson has not really had much of a chance since he led 4-1. The last frame didn't pot a ball or really ever looked like potting one. Well, Robertson might be tempted this time. He's got a red that's available. He has to play it. Getting out onto a colour, once again, not simple. I think the natural angle, if he pots the red, his cue ball's heading back into the bunch. So what does he do about that and not miss the pot either? Played it with a lot of stun, bottom of the cue ball to avoid the main bulk of reds. He's not come out very good for his colour. Well, this is a big shot, very big. That is magnificent, that really is. A shot he did not have to play, but he made his mind up that he was going to take it on. Beautiful striking.
And I think that tells us a lot about his approach and the way he's feeling. Clearly very good.
Seven.
You'd like to pot it and clear the reds or a couple of the reds away from the pink spot if you could.
Well,
a couple of reds look like they're set here as a plant. It's one of those absolutely unmissables, wasn't it, when you saw it from that camera angle? And that's
14.
not the worst kiss ever. In fact, it's a delightful kiss. Landing on the blue, just off top side. Perfect. So a bit like the previous frame, that Selby got in and was patient, waiting for the chance. Robertson has done the same here. Play about 8 minutes, and now he's got a really good chance. It's pretty classical snooker, isn't it? Work hard for your opportunity, then attempt to get the frame one with the first chance.
And the removal of that red in a rather congested area really helps Robertson's cause.
Yeah, it might have been an important positional shot actually to get on that red through the gap between pink and black. Yeah, I mean, he's been on this break 5.5 minutes and he's not exactly strode away to get the frame one, but now that he's done all the hard work, he's put many of the balls into good positions.
$33. $34. $40.
When it comes to consistently excellent break building, of course you've got to be able to pot and control the cue ball, which Robertson has done masterfully here. But also, it's the way you think, the way you plot the break. This one has required a lot of thought.
$41.
But as Neal said, as each ball goes in, it's becoming a little more straightforward.
$47. $48.
Yeah, because he can get to the right-hand red to the left corner.
53. $54.
Choice here. He could play the little cannon on the left-hand red of the 5, or the one on the right, perhaps he could play on it. He's gone into them. That's excellent. That's very good.
60.
Seemed a good little bunch of reds to go into. Thought he would be on one, but it's absolutely perfect. So this is
61.
kind of just getting one back on Mark Selby, who kind of won the last frame in a similar way, a long safety battle of over 10 minutes before ball was potted. This one a little less than that, but at the first opportunity, providing he goes colour and then red at this visit, then he's won it in a single scoring visit. High-class snooker. I don't think Selby is playing poorly at all, but he's being outmanoeuvred at this stage.
$72. $73.
As we'll no doubt discover when the Ashes roll around at the tail end of the year, Australians like a century. Robertson is no exception.
78.
He loves piling up the tons. This would be number 980 for his career. And he's 41st this season, matching last season's total.
$84. $90. $91.
It's a question of reaching across. He missed a red in the first frame, actually, from that side of the table into that top left-hand pocket. Because this one is carries no pressure, as the red did. A little easier than this, actually, the one he missed.
97. $99. Neal Robertson, 99.
99! No century, but the main objective was winning the frame, and he did so with aplomb. 5-2. Right now,
Thank you, frame
Neal
8.
Robertson's opponent
Neal Robertson to break.
needs some encouragement. This is discouraging. The only way that Selby can win now is in a deciding frame. Well, these two have played in deciders 5 times before, and Robertson has won on each and every occasion. So the black clouds, Neal, are gathering.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the equation is simple. He's got to win 4 frames. The task of doing so, even if he got to all square, as you've pointed out, would be less than simple. But as I've said before, and we make the point that, you know, he's got this way of thinking that he'll never give up in a match. Something his late father told him, that he should always battle for every point, and he's always done that. Go back, I should think, although you'd expect the shot to be played better. Or maybe a little bit more with pace on the second go. I don't know whether he'll change anything, Mark Selby. Sometimes you get behind and, you know, he is being outmanoeuvred a little bit. He's played well, I think. You know, will he perhaps take a shot or two on more? Because at the moment, that man has got all the answers, Neal Robertson. Well, this is
Foul. And the miss.
clipping
Robertson,
the
6.
pink on the way through. So, yeah, it's proving a little costly now. I mean, you don't want to be giving away 16, 20 points. Robertson deciding that he's going to play it. I don't know why he particularly would do that. Because he'd always have this shot available to him. Cannot see how that's a better option than putting him back into the snooker. Can't imagine why.
No, I'm with you there, Neil. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, he was actually playing to a smallish gap. I think Selby would have escaped. But even then, that shot probably was going to be available at that point. Anyway, probably a minor issue. And now he's hit the bump of the middle pocket, and that's not a good shot from Selby. It's not really unlucky when you play and hit the jaw. It's ill-directed.
From talk of a minor issue to what could be a major issue, the way that Robertson's been playing.
I think he's surprised it never dropped. Now, the cue ball here is the slight issue. How can he get the cue ball out away from the reds onto his colour? Glancing off the bunch. A little bit of luck involved. It's not the worst nudge
1.
on the brown. There was just an element of uncertainty about that shot. Oh, what a kiss that is.
5.
The blue didn't get pushed safe, and now he's on the red through the gap. It's absolutely dream world as far as getting a little nudge.
Six.
Well, Selby does have some positives. His pod success rate in the tournament as a whole, 93%. It's not that he's making glaring errors. I think the game is there. And we all know the fighting qualities
13.
are there.
That's not great, is it? Queuing down the ball, he kind of overstunned it, I think, and Kewell didn't really run through perfectly. Now the black he's playing, given that he's not really shouldn't be there, it's difficult. That's okay. Nicely recovered. And on the red.
21.
Always been very agile with this kind of shot.
$22. 29. $30.
Yes, I made the point earlier when he got the very good nudge on the blue, he didn't put the blue safe. It could easily finish on the side cushion, which just would have narrowed down his options. Never mind the fact that he landed on the red from the shot. Well, he's played well today, but that's the worst by a mile
Selby
with his
first.
hit. He really didn't time it. He didn't hit it well. Didn't sound great. And of course the black was charging towards the bunch of reds. It didn't hit the main bulk of them. Wasn't a lot else to take though from it as a positive. So now,
One.
really what should have been Selby's could be Robertson's. It was a good chance that he found himself with, which he has not taken advantage of at all. Well, is he on the red to middle? That would be the key.
6.
I think he is, yeah. That's okay.
$7.
Players on the tour are fully conversant with Mark Selby's reputation for fighting back. That's why Neal Robertson will want to see this off right here. Slam the door. Have no nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, it's strange setup, isn't it? That, you know, the reds are pretty good, although, you know, those reds are all in almost a line, which means they won't all go to corner pockets. I wonder if he'll look at the two reds on the left here. Certainly would be on one. The right-hand red he can play, but as you can see, the others are not necessarily all lined up to be potted. It is a good chance, however, and he will not be rushed
14.
into anything because he can see the winning line now.
Having endured, for him, 2 barren seasons,
19.
it must be so good to be back competing at snooker's top table. Robertson, runner-up in the 2019 Players' Championship, the winner of the event in 2022 in nearby Wolverhampton.
$20. $24.
Certainly having a look at those couple of reds now. I mentioned earlier he was in a position perhaps to play the right-hand red of the 2, and other than that there are a couple of other options of the reds to right corner, but there's still a little bit to work out here. I think taking this red is a good one. It frees the one next to it.
$25.
Now is he going to drop in the pink and land into the 4 reds here? Because that can go wrong when you play that. Cannon isn't always guaranteed to land you on the next ball or red. I feel that's all he can do here, just shift these 4 reds. Well, you see, this is the thing.
Robertson, 25. Mark,
He's
76.
unlucky there, has to be said, because he controlled it well, but he can always just knock the ball in. Who knows if that will be a turning point.
$1.
Suddenly renewed hope for Selby.
I mean, the 2 reds are now Selby's problem. They're a little awkward, even though they're in the middle of the table. Especially with the, the black not on its spot. I mean, if you can play a red, land on the black just to play the nudge on the 2 reds, it's easier. But with the black
7.
not on its spot, it's not quite so easy to just put the 2 reds into potable places. But,
8.
is no good, I don't think. Not sure that the cannon's on now. Pretty sure it's going to throw too wide, so as I say, not quite straightforward this. He wanted to be on the pink just off straight and play a sort of push into the 2 reds. So the blue it is, screwing back down towards the reds. Well, he's got some zip on this. That's fantastic. He deserves to be on one, and if he's not, that is criminal.
13.
Stephen Hendry makes a salient point that when it comes to screwing and applying backspin to the ball, Selby's one of the very best. Yes, he was unlucky, of course he was. This was a very sweetly struck shot. But he was only back at the table because beforehand, Robertson was unlucky.
Yeah, it's a fair point. And I think Robertson was unlucky, actually. You know, he had to play that shot. He controlled it, but just the red just toppled in, didn't it, to the left corner. So the frame is still up for grabs, and there's only been one close frame, and relatively, and that was the first. Well, he would have played the double, but he also played that cue ball immaculately to the cushion. And it's given Neal Robertson just a little bit of a problem here. Can't get to both reds. Just the one, as you can see, which is a long way away. And not a simple safety shot by any means, this one. Just going to run it off the cushion to reach the red is all he's going to try here, in the absence of any other shot. Been a frame with some good fortune, really. I think I have to say most of it has gone to Mark. I know he was unlucky with that shot off the blue, screwing into the reds, but that was another shot that was not planned. He clipped the pink ball on the way through to that. Could have left that red by the black, and things gone slightly differently.
That was always narrow.
Foul, and Miss Mark Selby 4.
What does he do, though? Does he play this red down the cushion? It's, you know, these are missable. We've seen plenty of these missed. If he has it put back, Robertson will probably reach the red, and that'll be the end of the matter. If this red doesn't go in, could easily be the end of the match. But he has to take some sort of a risk, I think. Got to play it.
One.
He stayed down, he wasn't sure. The red caught the near jaw, but went just about.
Seven. 8.
So I just wonder if there's an argument that this could have been a turning point of a frame. You know, that shot where Neal potted the pink and trickled a red into the left corner.
13.
When the match was very much up for grabs there, it looked like he was going to win it there and then. it's only one frame.
15.
That it's cost him. But Selby just might find something now, and you know, if he takes the one after this one, all of a sudden he's on his tail.
18. $22. $27.
Undoubtedly, Selby handed a lifeline. And you have to wonder, will the jester from Leicester have the last laugh? Our quarter-final involving Neal Robertson and Mark Selby, living up to expectations, keenly contested, and I'm sure that will apply to this evening's blockbuster. It is the world number one, Judd Trump, up against the Masters champion, Shaun Murphy. Tune in, ITV4, 6:45 we're on air for that one. And much like this match, I think it's very difficult to predict a winner. When you're out there, Neal, you've had many experiences both ways like this. When you've been on the verge of getting over the line and something occurs that's unlucky and you don't quite get there, can you start to have the demons in the head?
Well, of course, but you know there's always a chance of a turning point. It's just that this man, you know, Mark Selby, with his style of play, he will see an opening here and way back into the match. He won't be thinking about losing it. And it's been a good game, you know. The standard of safety's been high. That, you know, there's been, I think probably the worst shot I've seen was that black that Mark missed in the frame he ended up winning, where he, you know, he hit it all wrong. But there hasn't been very much of that at all. It's been a really quality game. Two consummate match players. Robertson's still got to get this frame though, hasn't he?
Thank you,
Just been
frame 9.
slightly put on the back foot there.
Mark Selby to break. Take your seats, please.
Selby just waiting for a few latecomers. Very uncharacteristically, Selby's lost quite a few matches this season from positions of strength. This afternoon he would love a role reversal, a vintage comeback.
Not easy, and of course it's not a nice moment when you see that red ball that you miss, which you have no control of when you missed it, going back towards the main bunch. He didn't get close enough to avoid something like this happening.
And that did not threaten the pocket either. That was grossly overcut.
a pretty telling safety shot because, of course, he knows the pink is blocking the left side of the bunch, and now the brown is covering many reds on the right side, so it doesn't really leave him an easy safety shot. It's one of those you've got a clear view of a number of reds, but not to get a thin edge. Is he winding himself to go for one here? Or has he got some sort of a safety thin escape? He's played it quite well, actually. But look at those reds spread out like that. If a chance came, which should be a good one. And this is the thing with these two, and of course Neal is experiencing it here, that with Mark Selby, you know, you end up playing a series of quite awkward safety shots in a row. And of course, Neal is capable of doing that to Mark as well. But for now, last 2 or 3 shots, you know, he's got to find a way of wriggling out of this. Once again, it's more just finding a way back to bulk is proving difficult. It looks like he's a very thin contact he's trying to make here. It's one he could miss altogether.
Foul. And miss Mark Selby 4.
Free ball, possibly? No, I don't think so. Goes back. Yeah, it's a very thin contact, this. You can understand him missing it. Because, I mean, if you hit too much of the red, the cue ball goes close to and off.
Mark. Thank you.
He's already on plan B, a different shot. Well, I mean, you might well complain about the ball drifting off, but if you play it dead weight over that distance, not many tables would go dead straight, actually. Don't think he's left anything, however.
Yeah, I think from his reaction, he thought the drift would be a little more severe than it turned out to be. But this is the kind of exchange that you don't want to become embroiled with when Mark Selby is the opponent. Obviously, can't throw caution to the wind, but it's Robertson who needs to set the agenda, not Selby. in snooker, the past often influences the present. Reputations are very useful, and Selby's reputation for refusing to wave the white flag is universally known.
He's got the white back anyway, which was part of the plan. Of course, he went for the red. I think the red up the table, Selby considering playing to the left middle here. Hit too much of it. Error. What has he left? You're just looking for a big chance if you're Neal Robertson. Pretty obvious to say, but you know, something early in a frame rather than playing catch-up when you just want one more frame. And the first look-in really is what you're after. But the starter red is not simple here. To the point where he is refusing the thin red to left middle. So he's got away with one there, Mark Selby.
Yeah, the thin red to middle that Robertson briefly contemplated. That was a risky shot in itself, and of course there was no guarantee of position. This has become very tense.
Yeah, well, he's not a ball potted yet in this frame, 12.5 minutes old. You could say that.
And as we've repeatedly said, a protracted safety exchange definitely in favour of Selby. As was that shot. Terrific again. Execution and visualisation. Yeah, Selby's safety success, 8 percentage points superior to Robertson's. The other thing with him, though, of course, he's got that happy knack. After being involved in a safety battle of length, he can immediately switch and build a break if he gets a chance.
Well, not taking the risk again. We're 15 minutes into this frame. I mean, I don't know what the longest is. I don't think the record exists where, you know, the longest anyone's gone in a frame without a ball being potted. I mean, who would hold those kind of records, really? No one's got that information. Could have happened in some qualifier somewhere. But not a lot of progress made. And now, of course, the Reds were spread at the beginning of the frame nicely. Now they've got a little bit tangled up with each other after a long safety exchange.
Just keeps turning the screw.
It was a really outstanding safety shot, actually, wasn't it? It was worth the wait, the way he shaped that cue ball right round into that position. So now the chance of a ball being potted.
You can play safe all you like. Ultimately, you've got to knock them in.
1.
Well, I think he probably deserved that little nudge. I think a few examples of rubber the green have slightly gone the way of Mark Selby in the last half an hour or so. Nothing major, just things that have made a difference. He made a mistake this frame, he didn't leave a red. A couple of other things in the previous frames, but the chances at last come, and he's been patient, Robertson.
4.
Would have been disappointed not to have won the match already, just given the way the last frame dropped against him when the red popped in from the pot on the pink, so got to regroup and go again. Here I don't think you're setting your sights on censure or anything. You get to 30, something like that, set small targets, because it's been a long safety battle. "24 shots before ball was eventually potted. So you're not always as fluent as you might be straight away.
11.
Yeah, switching heads from defence to attack. Not always easy. We saw right at the start of this contribution that Robertson hadn't potted a ball in live play for a little over 27 minutes. So in that regard, he's not got rhythm, he's not got a flow. But he has got the confidence gained from playing a pretty good match so far.
18. $19.
The average shot time of both players has steadily crept up since the interval.
25.
Partly because of the circumstance, partly because of several frames where the balls have run awkwardly and extra thinking time is required.
$26. $32. $33.
Just a little bit of a headache, those three reds by the left corner. The bottom one, of course, is not an issue. It's the other two. They're just blocking things off a little bit down that side. So you'll probably play on that bottom red of the three. So that's one less problem, but still, you know, to get the frame and match one at this visit will You know, take some doing, I think. Still got work on. The red's not quite so easy to land behind once this one is potted.
40.
I think the bottom one of the four that are close together goes. We saw a glimpse of it on that last camera angle.
Considering
46.
the position of the remaining balls, this is now a very healthy lead for Robertson.
$47.
It's ironic, it was the pink that caused his issues in the previous frame. But the pink has been his best friend in this one.
Yeah, I mean, the first objective, like I say, was to put together a break of some description, but now it's...
53.
That box has been ticked. Now it's a question of getting over the line, and he can. It's not been straightforward. After a protracted safety exchange, often the balls, as I said earlier, can be just placed in unorthodox areas.
$54.
Well, I think he's got the angle on this blue to come down towards the reds, but as you can see, it's the sort of shot you have to force it a little bit, and these shots can be missed. Now looking at perhaps the brown, that looks arguably more difficult if he's going for it. Well played.
$58.
Playing on that single red. Just wonder if there's still a twist here, because it's not guaranteed that he'll get the match one here. Actually the first rest shot he's played in the entire match, this one.
And what a crunch shot it is.
Yeah, he's like positioned awkwardly, isn't he, across the table on it. You kind of really could see that happening. It was not a particularly enjoyable shot.
Robertson, 58.
Slightly contorted across the table to reach it. This is not over. And the two reds, as you see on that replay, next to each other, Selby's now eyeing up for a possible plant. That would open quite a lot of the table up, it has to be said. If this went in, anything would be possible.
It really is amazing in frames of snooker, certainly at this level, how one shot can transform the look of a frame.
Well, it's not an easy plant by any means, but as I say, it's a big shot. So many different types of plants. Some are virtually unmissable, but that one, it's horrible playing a thin contact on the second red.
Robertson so close. And now a whole lot closer to what would be his 53rd ranking event semi-final.
Yes, and he's almost there, and he's had to really roll his sleeves up here, hasn't he? And it's been a match for the connoisseur. It's been of a high level of safety, pretty good in the scoring department. But any lingering doubts anyone might have that Neal Robertson is not back to his best are surely gone now.
This will be one of those satisfying victories because he's competed in all departments, all facets of the game.
$13.
These pockets are playing quite tight. But he thumped that one in anyway, and that seals Selby's fate. Selby will be at the Tour Championship, but he won't be seeded into the quarterfinals. He will enter that event in round one now. As for Robertson,
19.
He goes there feeling $1 million.
$26. $27.
Well, it doesn't matter at all, but it's very close to being a foul there because if you ever play a shot when the referee is still respotting the balls or still got their fingers on the ball, then of course it would be called a foul, but it's a complete irrelevance.
34.
Robertson has played some good stuff today. He's a
35.
really tough player, and it's hard to think really why for that 18-month or so period he did struggle so much. Because he is undoubtedly one of the very best players in the game. Has been for a long while. And more importantly, he still is.
44.
As for Selby, he shouldn't be too downcast. But Robertson will be elated, and with every justification. More evidence there that the man from down under is getting very close to being back on top. He's into the semi-finals. He doubles up on Mark Selby. 6-3 the scoreline.
So just under 3 hours for Neal Robertson to see off the challenge of Mark Selby in today's Player Championship quarter-final. Some impressive scoring, 90% live pot success and solid long potting. 6-3 he goes into tomorrow night's semi-final against Kyren Wilson. And Neal has stepped in to join us alongside Alan and Stephen. Congratulations, that's your 7th match win on the bounce after your success in Hong Kong. Must be feeling pretty good out there.
Yeah, I am, yeah. It was a really good test today against Mark. I think the first 4 frames I was quite fortunate to be 3-1 up though. He had a couple of chances in some of the frames. And, you know, with the way he, made that century, I think, off my break-off, yeah, I was surprised to get back to the table with a couple of those missed opportunities from him. So at 3-1, I was obviously by far the happier player. But I thought after 3-1, I thought I got much stronger, and I felt as though I was playing, you know, quite some really solid stuff there.
Yeah, so many different elements to your game, but we were looking at the stats when you came in, and particularly the long pot success. You're sitting on 62, so you had 8 from 13, and Mark struggling, just 1 from 6. I think that tells its own story, doesn't it?
Yeah, there were a few that were quite tough. I mean, the 8 out of 13 to me, there's like 3 of those were kind of like 90% of the element of the shot was to get the white back to baulk, you know, try and use the jaws of the pocket to keep the red into the black area of the table. So realistically, it was probably 8 from 10 at the real attempts that I was going for. So I was, yeah, very pleased with that.
You've already answered the question I was going to ask about that, because I thought the first 4 frames he missed he made a couple of unforced errors, which you must have got real confidence from for the second half of the match. But another question is, do you change your game at all with the players you're playing, or do you want to impose your game on another player?
Yeah, exactly. I was very aggressive throughout the whole match, you know. Sometimes there's periods of when you're playing Mark where his safety is just so good that you need to just keep buying another shot, and I thought I did that really well today, is that I found a couple of little dump shots just to keep buying a shot, and eventually he's going to leave me some sort of avenue to get back to baulk, and that was the way how I sort of like, essentially how I got in that last frame there. So more patience required today against maybe some other players, but I felt as though I was really aggressive when I had the opportunities. There's one frame where I knocked in a great long red. I could have maybe tucked him up behind a baulk colour, went for the long blue, made 99 from it. So I think the balance of my game is in a good shape.
I said at the interval, actually, you know, 3-1 in front. It could have been 2-2, whatever, but I thought you were the stronger. It felt from us guys looking on, it looked like he was more worried about you than the other way round. Did you get that sense?
Yeah, I think that. I mean, I don't know if he was watching any of my matches in Hong Kong or not, but I was very, very aggressive out there and knocking in an awful lot of long balls.
But you're right about that hanging tough thing. You did, like, you know, buy another shot. I've seen it, especially towards the end.
Yeah, I think he was clearly worried about leaving me some sort of shot to nothing. You know, he just didn't want to leave me any chance whatsoever at a red, where maybe against lesser, stronger long potters, he's maybe sort of like, you know, encouraging them to maybe have a go. But I knocked in a lot of, you know, really, really good long pots to get in. So.
What was the feeling you had in the last frame? Because Mark had an outside chance of a plant, didn't he? It was nasty though, wasn't it?
Yeah, after I played, I thought about it myself. I thought, oh no, there's no way you can go for this. And yeah, I mean, when I missed the red down the rail with the rest, I thought that, you know, it was like a shot to nothing essentially. I mean, this is a nice little pot here as well. But I think he was probably just trying to just get back into the match, you know. And then, you know, when he needs 2 or 3 snookers, you know he's coming back to the table, and you can be out there for another 20 minutes. So I was very happy to see that long one go in as well.
You've got Kyren Wilson in the semi-final. Of course, the world champion. We know what kind of form he's been in all season. How do you approach that one?
I think it's going to be a really good high-scoring contest, that one. He certainly won't back down. Neither will I. Neither player is going to look to stifle the other one in any way. I think it's going to be a really aggressive game, and whoever can get the good splits and pot the long ones to get in, I think will probably go through.
And tomorrow, what's the plan tomorrow? Beautiful sunny day. You're not going to be out at the golf course, I hope.
I did yesterday. I have my clubs, actually, yeah. So my friend said, well, we can find a driving range now. So, yeah, I've got a few things to work on with my coach, Dean.
What's the best, the cue action or the golf swing?
Well, definitely the cue action, but the golf swing, it's getting there. It's getting there, yeah.
Imagine if you'd started in golf all those years ago and didn't pick up a cue.
I could be a multiple major winner in golf, yeah.
There's time yet. There's time yet. Yeah. Listen, great to see you, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow in that semi-final against Kyren Wilson. But of course, with every winner, there has to be a loser. Let's hear what Mark Selby had to say after this one with Abigail.
I'm ready. Mark, on the whole, a really high-quality contest, but for you personally, maybe in that first mini session, just didn't capitalise on the opportunities when Neal missed.
Yeah, I think that's exactly how it was, you know. Obviously, the first session, 3-1 down. I could have easily been 3-1 up or even 4-0 up myself. But playing Neal at the moment, you can see he's full of confidence and he's got that back. And you can't afford to give him, somebody of his class, that kind of lead. And I was playing catch-up ever since.
And coming into this tournament, you were talking a lot about your timing being off. But aside from that black in the 8th frame, not really too many signs of that, cueing the ball beautifully.
Yeah, no, I feel like my game's like really close to where I want it to be. You know, I just a few errors, like you say, in the first session, which probably was the difference between me winning and losing the game.
And still plenty to play for at the back end of this season. What would you deem a successful end to this campaign?
Well, I mean, obviously we've got 2 big tournaments left. Tour Champs, which is best of 19s, which is great preparation for the World. So, but at the back of my mind, obviously now you're thinking of the World Championships. So hopefully to go there and put in a good performance and win the Worlds again would be nice.
Best of luck. We'll see you in Manchester.
Thanks a lot.
He is one of those players, Mark Selby, where he could turn up and win the World Championship. He could turn up, you know, next week in Manchester and win the Tour Championship.
Absolutely. He's at this point, he's my pick for the World Championship, because I think his game is there. He made 1 or 2 unforced errors, certainly in the first 4 frames, and I think the 3-1 lead he was chasing, you know, after that. But I think he looks like he's hitting the ball beautifully. Cuts out 1 or 2 mistakes. He's going to be thereabouts, the Tour Championship and in Sheffield. 93%,
96% positional success. You know, that's the Mark Selby we know. He was trying things today, though. He was attacking. He was going for his shots.
No, he was. He'll pick and choose his moments, but Mark Selby still has the top standard that's required, as Stephen rightly says, to win the World Championship. It's whether he has volume of performance anymore to sustain it for long enough to get that done the way Kyren can do it, as he proved last year, albeit he didn't beat the Selbys and the Higgins. He beat Higgins, but that's that's the one big question for him. The good news, as he said there, he has the Tour Championship, best of 19s. That's in his ballpark. That's where he wants to be operating, going into the crucible. The Tour Championship's massive in its own right. So we'll find out.
And of course, a huge game tonight, because again, 2 more world champions in the house. We've got Judd Trump, the world #1, against Shaun Murphy, who's been playing some fantastic snooker of late. What have you made of those 2 in their opening games this week?
Well, I mean, arguably, Shaun Murphy is playing some of the best snooker in the world right now. I mean, in some of the matches he's lost to unbelievable performances. I mentioned Neal loved the table out there because the players last night thought it was a wee bit heavy, and I thought that's not going to suit Judd. Judd likes good conditions, and then I was thinking Shaun might win, but it's going to be maybe a different match this afternoon. It's going to be a fantastic match.
Aesthetically, Shaun has always had what you need to have. He's never, and I mean never in the last 20 years, had the steel, but he's got it this season. That's the difference in Shaun Murphy, and that's why he's my pick at the moment for the championship at Sheffield, and actually this week.
What about you? What's your pick for tonight then? It's going to be a huge match. 2 cracking players, hugely entertaining to watch, both of them.
Absolutely. I kind of side with Shaun a little bit. So I'll just see how it goes, but it's hard to pick a winner, these 2, it really is.
You've been talking up Shaun all week. You've been very complimentary
I think he's
about
playing
the
the best snooker in the world at the moment.
Yeah,
but he's maybe not getting all the results, but he's playing the best snooker, I think.
And he does know a little bit about the game, so, you know.
Yeah.
All right, well, you can watch that match tonight. We'll be back here in Telford for another quarter-final here at the Players' Championship. We've got Judd Trump up against Shaun Murphy, a mouth-watering prospect, right back in the studio at 6:45 here on ITV4. Thanks for your company, fellas. We'll see you very soon. Bye-bye for now.